I still remember the morning of March 15th, 2023, as if it were painted in the colors of destiny. I was driving to my weekly prayer meeting, heart filled with quiet anticipation and faith, when in a single, terrifying moment, everything changed. Out of nowhere, a speeding truck ran a red light and collided with my car in a violent, shattering impact. The sound of twisting metal and cascading shards of glass filled the air, a sound that still reverberates in my memory like a haunting echo. And then, as suddenly as the noise erupted, there came an overwhelming silence that seemed to swallow every breath. Before we delve deeper into the revelations that changed my life, I need to ask you something vital. If you believe in the transformative power of faith and the promise of eternal redemption, please subscribe to this channel. Many watch these stories, yet only a few take the step to truly join our community of seekers. By subscribing and turning on notifications, you ensure that you never miss a life-altering message. Messages that could illuminate your path and guide you toward salvation. This isn't just another video. It's a call to awaken your soul and embrace the divine truth that awaits beyond our mortal struggles. Stay with me as we explore the mysteries of the spiritual realm, the significance of that sacred mark, and the ultimate message of unconditional love and redemption through Jesus Christ. In the midst of that chaos, a surreal calm began to descend upon me. It was as if time had slowed down, every second stretching into infinity. I felt a strange sensation, as though I were watching the scene unfold from a distance. Suddenly, I realized that I was no longer confined to the battered remains of my body. Instead, I experienced a profound near-death experience, a moment of pure consciousness projection, where my spirit detached from the physical world and began its journey towards something far greater. There was no pain, only an astonishing peace that washed over me like a gentle tide. As I floated above the scene, a brilliant glow beckoned in the distance. It was unmistakable, a mesmerizing light at the end of the tunnel that drew me in with its promise of hope. That light wasn't merely a visual spectacle. It felt like a divine summons, inviting me to step into a new realm. With each passing moment, I felt myself moving closer to this radiant portal, where the boundaries of the known world dissolved into an expanse of infinite possibility. I soon discovered that I had entered a spiritual realm unlike anything I had ever imagined, a place where the laws of physics were replaced by the overwhelming presence of unconditional love. In this ethereal space, every sensation was amplified. I could feel the warmth of a celestial embrace wrapping around me, soothing every worry and fear. The overwhelming calm was punctuated by a subtle yet persistent inner whisper, a reminder that there was indeed a life after death, a continuation of existence that transcended our earthly trials. I found myself immersed in a profound state of clarity, as if the very essence of my being was being reassembled in an act of divine mercy. Every heartbeat resonated with the pure, unconditional love that permeated this sacred realm, and I knew that I was witnessing something miraculous, an experience that defied the finality of death and revealed the true promise of eternal life. In that sacred moment, I realized that my journey was not a random accident. The collision, the chaos, and the ensuing silence were all part of a divine orchestration meant to awaken me to a deeper truth. The experience was far more than a brush with death. It was a transformative passage, a gateway into a realm where every hardship is met with the gentle reassurance of divine compassion. My soul was elevated beyond the physical confines of my former life, opening my eyes to a panorama of spiritual beauty and wisdom. I felt as if I were part of an endless conversation with the universe, a dialogue filled with hope, redemption, and the promise that every trial carries with it the seed of eternal grace. As I drifted through this luminous realm, I began to piece together the profound lessons embedded in that near-death experience. It was a moment of clarity that redefined my understanding of existence. I felt the undeniable pull of a destiny that went far beyond the boundaries of this world, a calling to embrace the mysteries of life after death and the promise of unconditional love that awaits us all. This journey, initiated by a tragic accident, was not an end, but rather a beginning, a chance to see the world through the eyes of a spirit awakened by the light at the end of the tunnel. Now, as I recount this testimony, I speak not only from the depths of my personal experience, but also as a humble messenger, urging you to open your heart and mind to the wonders that lie beyond. Every fiber of my being resonates with the truth that our earthly struggles are but stepping stones to a far greater destiny, a destiny filled with divine love and boundless grace. In that luminous space, as I drifted deeper into the realm of boundless love and eternal truth, I saw him. There, standing before me with an aura of undeniable authority and warmth, was Jesus. His very presence radiated a divine magnetism, a glowing testament to unconditional love and infinite wisdom. I felt his gaze, deep and knowing, like an endless pool of light at the end of the tunnel, inviting me into a conversation that transcended time and space. He spoke softly, yet his voice resonated with the power of the ages. "Olivia, there are truths you need to know, truths that have been hidden and distorted for far too long." Those words struck me like a bolt of lightning, reverberating in every fiber of my being. In that moment, the experience of my near-death state, this extraordinary consciousness projection, became even more profound. I was no longer just a witness to a miraculous event. I was an active participant in a divine revelation that would forever alter the course of my life. Jesus' eyes, reflecting centuries of sorrow and hope, met mine with an intensity that made my heart race and then calm all at once. In his gaze, I recognized the promise of life after death, a promise that defied the grim realities of the physical world. He explained, in gentle yet compelling tones, that my journey was not a mere accident, but a sacred appointment, a divine intervention meant to awaken me to a higher calling. I felt the pull of that transcendent energy, much like the irresistible allure of a light at the end of the tunnel, guiding me through the darkness. He began to unravel mysteries that had long been obscured by the mists of time and misunderstanding. With careful, compassionate words, he revealed that what history has branded as the curse of Ham was not a curse on an entire people, but a misinterpretation, a distortion of spiritual truths. It wasn't a matter of skin color or a judgment against an entire lineage. Rather, it was a warning tied to specific spiritual choices. This revelation struck me with the clarity of a divine vision, illuminating centuries of injustice with the brilliance of unconditional love and truth. In that moment, Jesus shared vivid images of ancient African civilizations, a tapestry of cultures thriving under divine blessing. I witnessed mighty kingdoms flourishing with spiritual leaders, scholars, and prophets whose wisdom was rooted in a deep, unshakable connection to God. These were people who, despite the trials of oppression, had nurtured an extraordinary gift, a profound ability to perceive the sacred in all things. Their resilience was not born of a curse, but of an extraordinary, divinely inspired capacity for love and endurance. The spiritual realm I was in vibrated with the echoes of their heritage, a legacy of hope and grace that transcended every earthly boundary. The intensity of that moment was overwhelming. I felt as if I were being gently pulled into an expansive dialogue with the divine, a conversation that bridged the gap between the temporal and the eternal. Each word Jesus uttered was like a spark, igniting a deeper understanding of the eternal truths that have guided humanity for centuries. His message was clear. Our physical existence is merely a passage, a temporary station on the journey toward an everlasting embrace of unconditional love. The life after death that I had just glimpsed was not an ending, but a transformation. A rebirth into a reality where every soul is cradled in the boundless compassion of God. I listened, utterly captivated, as he explained that the history of Black people had been misrepresented, a narrative skewed by centuries of misunderstanding and prejudice. In his luminous presence, the true spiritual heritage of these ancient civilizations was revealed, a legacy marked by resilience, deep faith, and a unique spiritual gift. Their ability to connect with the divine, even in the face of unimaginable adversity, was a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit and the unyielding mercy of God. Each revelation was like a strand of light weaving together the fabric of a new understanding, a consciousness projection of what humanity is truly capable of when bathed in the glow of divine truth. Jesus' words echoed the promise found in John 14:6, "I am the way, the truth, and the life," but with a deeper, more personal resonance that enveloped me like a warm embrace. I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude and purpose, realizing that this sacred encounter was not just about my own salvation, but a call to spread a message of hope and redemption. The experience was both intimate and monumental, a crossroads where the pain of earthly struggles met the radiant promise of eternal life. Every detail of that encounter is etched in my memory, a perpetual reminder of the divine love that awaits us all. As I continue to reflect on that sacred moment, I find strength in the truth that our journey does not end with physical death. It transforms into a magnificent, everlasting communion with the divine. As I remained enveloped in that transcendent state, the divine narrative began to unfold with a clarity that pierced the veil of centuries-old misconceptions. Jesus, with his compassionate gaze, initiated a profound explanation of what history has erroneously termed the curse of Ham. He revealed that this so-called curse was never a blanket condemnation passed down through generations, nor was it tied to physical attributes like skin color. Instead, it was a cautionary message, a spiritual consequence linked solely to specific choices made in a time of moral decline. In that sacred moment, I realized that the misinterpretations had been a distortion, an injustice born out of ignorance and fear rather than divine will. With every word he spoke, I experienced a powerful consciousness projection, a deep, soul-stirring awareness that connected me to a spiritual realm beyond our mortal confines. In that luminous space, I was granted visions of ancient African civilizations that had thrived in a state of profound spiritual resonance. I saw grand cities and majestic temples, all basking in a divine radiance that was reminiscent of a light at the end of the tunnel, an ever-guiding beacon promising hope and renewal. These visions were not merely historical recollections. They were a living tapestry of a people blessed with an innate capacity for unconditional love and wisdom. I witnessed scenes of communal celebrations where elders, priests, and sages gathered in reverence, their voices harmonizing in songs that echoed the timeless truths of our Creator. Every note, every prayer, carried with it the essence of life after death, a reminder that our journey does not end with our final breath, but continues in a realm where the soul is cradled by divine mercy. I felt the pulse of those ancient hearts, resilient and unwavering, as they navigated the trials of oppression with a grace that only deep faith can inspire. Their suffering, I learned, was never a mark of divine abandonment, but a crucible through which spiritual strength was forged. In that extraordinary vision, I saw how these communities harness their unique spiritual gifts. Their ability to discern the sacred in the mundane, the smile of a child, the rustle of leaves in a quiet forest, the rhythm of the rain, was nothing short of miraculous. They possessed a gift, a kind of spiritual vision that allowed them to see beyond the immediate pain of life's hardships, recognizing instead the promise of redemption that lay in every trial. It was as if they had an innate understanding that every hardship is tempered by the eternal glow of unconditional love, a love that transcends time and space and transforms suffering into a testament of faith. Jesus explained that the narrative of the curse of Ham had been manipulated over time to justify injustice and inequality. The true story, however, was one of empowerment, a call to embrace the heritage of wisdom and divine favor bestowed upon these ancient peoples. I saw through his eyes how the history of Black civilizations was not marred by a curse, but rather illuminated by the legacy of spiritual resilience and enlightenment. Their rich traditions, steeped in ritual and community, were a powerful affirmation of life after death, a continuous cycle of rebirth and renewal, fueled by the light of divine compassion. Every vision I encountered in that near-death experience was imbued with the profound reality of unconditional love. I felt as though I were walking among those who had, through centuries of struggle and triumph, preserved a sacred connection to the divine. Their legacy was a living, breathing example of how the human spirit can overcome any adversity when nourished by faith. The vibrant scenes of ritualistic dances, communal prayers, and ancient wisdom unfolded before me like a sacred manuscript written in the language of the soul. A language that spoke of a promise that life after death is not an end, but an eternal continuation in the embrace of God's mercy. In the midst of these revelations, I understood that the trials and tribulations endured by these communities were never meant as punishments. Instead, they were divinely orchestrated challenges designed to refine the spirit, to deepen the understanding of what it means to love unconditionally. Their suffering was a mirror reflecting the trials faced by all of humanity, a testament to the fact that through adversity comes the opportunity for a more profound connection with the eternal. This realization resonated within me as I recalled every moment of that extraordinary consciousness projection, a vivid, transformative journey where every shadow of despair was countered by the brilliant, unwavering light at the end of the tunnel. As these truths imprinted themselves on my soul, I began to see the world with new eyes. The legacy of those ancient civilizations was not a relic of the past, but a living beacon for the future. Their story was a call to all of us, to reclaim a narrative steeped in unconditional love, to reject the false narratives that divide, and to embrace the divine wisdom that calls us to a higher, more compassionate way of living. As my journey continued, I found myself immersed in a series of revelations that explained the true purpose behind the suffering endured by my people. I experienced a profound near-death experience that became a window into the divine orchestration of every hardship. In that sacred state of consciousness projection, I witnessed scenes that redefined the very nature of suffering. It wasn't merely punishment, but a crucible that refined the spirit and prepared it for the eternal embrace of the spiritual realm. In one particularly vivid vision, I saw a great gathering of souls, each one marked by the trials of life, yet each radiating the light at the end of the tunnel. I recognized the familiar struggles of oppression and injustice that have long burdened Black communities. But what struck me most was the realization that these very struggles were instrumental in cultivating a unique spiritual resilience. I observed how every tear shed, every moment of despair, was transformed into a powerful testimony of faith and a stepping stone toward life after death. It was as if the divine was whispering that our pain was never in vain. It was, in fact, the fuel for a future filled with hope and renewal. Amidst these revelations, Jesus appeared once more, his presence a beacon of pure, unconditional love. He explained to me that the purpose of our suffering was to illuminate the path to divine wisdom, a wisdom born out of enduring hardship and learning to see the sacred in every moment. Your struggles, he said, mirror my own suffering on the cross. They are not a sign of abandonment, but a testament to the strength of your faith and the depth of my love for you. His words resonated within me, reinforcing the truth that every trial is a preparation for an eternal communion with God. I felt the warmth of his embrace, a constant reminder that no matter how dark the night, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. The vision then shifted to a prophetic glimpse of the future, where I saw Black people rising as pivotal figures in God's kingdom. I witnessed a vast, diverse congregation of souls, each one carrying the spiritual heritage of ancient civilizations. These souls, enriched by centuries of wisdom and nurtured by the trials of oppression, were poised to lead humanity into a new era of divine understanding. Their resilience had not only preserved a legacy of spiritual brilliance, but had also forged a unique connection to the sacred, a connection that transcends mere survival and blossoms into a vibrant, eternal celebration of life after death. In that celestial scene, I saw communities coming together in harmonious worship, their voices raised in songs that echoed the promise of redemption and renewal. Their collective faith was a powerful reminder that in unity there is strength, and in suffering there is the seed of future triumph. I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude and awe as I realized that this prophecy was not about a predetermined fate, but about the active role we are called to play in shaping the destiny of all creation. The divine plan was unfolding before my eyes, offering a vision of a future where every soul, no matter its earthly trials, would be embraced by the unconditional love of God. Throughout this ethereal journey, every detail reinforced the interconnectedness of our experiences. I marveled at how the echoes of our struggles resonated with the eternal truths of the gospel. Jesus' teachings, such as those found in John 3:16, "For God so loved the world," took on a new dimension, revealing that our earthly pain was intricately woven into the tapestry of divine mercy and salvation. It became clear that the near-death experience I had undergone was not an isolated event, but a transformative passage that redefined the boundaries of life and death. I felt a deep calling to share these truths with all who would listen. The spiritual insights I gained urged me to embrace a life of greater devotion, more time in prayer, more fervor in the sacraments, and a relentless pursuit of the divine in every moment. I began to understand that our unique ability to perceive the sacred in the mundane was a gift bestowed upon us to inspire and uplift others. This understanding, nurtured by the profound presence of unconditional love, solidified my commitment to spreading the message of hope and eternal light. Every word, every vision, was a reminder that our journey on earth is merely the beginning of a far grander existence, a life after death where every trial is redeemed, every sorrow transformed, and every soul celebrated in the everlasting embrace of God's mercy. As the divine revelation neared its end, I felt a stirring deep within, a powerful tug that signaled the conclusion of my sojourn in the spiritual realm. Jesus' voice, resonating with both authority and tender compassion, called out to me one final time, "Olivia, your time among the blessed has come to an end, but your mission has only just begun. Go back to the living and carry this message with you. Tell them the time of misunderstanding is ending. Tell them that their heritage is not a curse, but a blessing. Let your resilience be the living proof of my power working through you, and let the world soon recognize the wisdom that has been preserved for generations." His words washed over me like a cascade of pure, unconditional love, reaffirming that every moment of suffering has its purpose and every trial is but a stepping stone to an eternal life after death. In that very instant, the brilliant light of the spiritual realm, the mesmerizing glow that had so vividly illuminated my consciousness projection, began to recede. It was as if the radiant light at the end of the tunnel was gently closing its embrace, preparing me for the inevitable return to the physical world. I felt the ethereal pull, a quiet summons back through the veil, separating life from death. The overwhelming sensations of the divine began to fade, replaced by a gradual awareness of a different, more familiar reality. Before I knew it, I found myself enveloped in darkness, a sudden void that quickly yielded to the sterile brightness of a hospital room. The beeping of machines and the soft murmur of voices replaced the celestial harmonies I had just experienced. I opened my eyes, dazed and disoriented, to find myself in a place that felt both alien and achingly familiar. The crisp, clinical air, the harsh fluorescent lights, and the hurried footsteps of the medical staff reminded me that I was back in the world of the living. The hospital staff, their faces etched with shock and relief, crowded around me. They spoke in hushed tones about how I had been clinically dead for 15 minutes, a near-death experience that defied human explanation. As I lay on that bed, I could sense the unspoken awe in the room. They saw not just a survivor, but someone touched by the divine. I carried within me the indelible marks of my journey through the spiritual realm, a realm where the embrace of unconditional love and the promise of life after death had transformed every fiber of my being. Sitting there, I recalled every detail of my consciousness projection, the indescribable sensation of floating freely above my physical form, the profound calm that had replaced pain, and the overwhelming clarity of a realm where every soul is bathed in divine mercy. I remembered the vivid images of ancient African civilizations flourishing under the glow of spiritual wisdom, their legacy shining like a beacon amidst darkness. I recalled the powerful lessons that even the deepest suffering is part of a larger divine tapestry, a tapestry woven with threads of redemption and eternal hope. In that moment of stillness, I vowed to honor the divine mandate given to me. My survival, I realized, was no random accident. It was a deliberate act of grace, a call to spread the shocking truth that had been revealed to me. I knew I was meant to share these revelations, that our struggles are not punishments, but profound lessons in divine resilience, that our heritage, rich with spiritual wisdom, is a gift rather than a curse, and that every trial we endure prepares us for the eternal embrace of a life after death filled with unconditional love. In the days that followed, my life transformed in ways both subtle and dramatic. I found solace in the sacraments, deepened my time in prayer, and committed myself to living a life that reflected the truths I had witnessed. Every encounter, every shared story of struggle and redemption became a testament to the power of faith. I began speaking openly about my near-death experience, recounting the luminous visions of the spiritual realm and the divine conversation that forever altered my understanding of existence. I urged others to look beyond the surface of their earthly challenges and to see the radiant promise of a future steeped in grace and eternal light. This transformation was not confined to my personal narrative alone. It became a rallying cry, a message of hope for anyone who has ever felt lost in the darkness. I shared how, even in our most desperate moments, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. How our consciousness, when freed from the shackles of mortal pain, can soar into a realm of infinite possibility and love. I spoke of the truth that our physical departure from this world is not a final end, but a transition into a state of being where divine mercy reigns and every soul is cherished. Now, as I sit here and recount my testimony, I feel an unyielding responsibility to ensure that this sacred message reaches those who need it most. My journey, a journey marked by a near-death experience and illuminated by a divine vision of life after death, serves as a beacon of hope for all who are burdened by the weight of earthly pain and misunderstanding. I invite you, dear friend, to embrace this truth, to see in your own struggles the potential for divine transformation, and to remember that every moment of suffering carries the seed of redemption. Reflect on the love that sustained me in my darkest hour, a love so vast and unconditional that it transcends the boundaries of life and death. Know that each trial, each hardship, is a call to rise above, to seek the eternal light that awaits beyond this transient existence. And remember, the message is clear. Our heritage is a blessing, our resilience is proof of divine strength, and our journey continues into an everlasting embrace of grace.